Hopkins Blue Jay All-American, professional lacrosse player, CAA Coach of the Year, Towson University head coach. Shawn, welcome in the crease.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Coaching, tough profession. I mean, you played All-American. What made you decide that you wanted to be a coach?
Always had a passion for sports in general. My first kind of job was coaching Little League baseball back home and as a freshman in high school, and had a blast doing it. Obviously, you're coaching kids that cared more about kicking dirt and picking flowers out in the outfield, and more like a human jungle gym at that point. But it was just a lot of fun. Really enjoyed giving back and being involved with the excitement of the youth. As I got older and got more concentrated into the sport of lacrosse, I was able to just garner so much, I felt, knowledge and experience over my career in high school, in college. I had 3 different head coaches during my 4 years in college. And coming out, I felt like I needed to, or wanted to really give back, and coaching was an avenue for me to do that. Going from being a player to a coach was very eye-opening to me. As much as you think you know as a player, you have no idea, when you get to be a coach, really what it involves. So being able to work with young men through some major years of growth and development, not just as lacrosse players, but as young men growing into adults and men of service, that was something that I really found valuable, and didn't really understand maybe as a player how awesome that would be, and to be able to share my passion of the game, but then also share my experiences through good times and bad times with those guys has been invaluable.
Speaking of good times, Final Four for Towson, what was that like for you? What was the experience that you got? What do you think the kids got out of it, and how do you think it's helped you in the future?
It was extremely rewarding for the guys in our program. We had a really talented senior class in 2017, and that group, a lot of Maryland guys on that team, and they came in, and a lot of them got some minutes early on in their career. And I think that experience and that blue-collar work ethic, the identity of our program in regards to, we might not be the flashiest, and then we might not be the most, have the most recruited guys on our team, but we believe in each other and we trust in each other, and we're going to work as hard as we can in practice and work as hard as we can against each other, and competitively, to get the most out of each other. And they did that over the course of their 4 years, and the guys that were above them helped mold them. The guys that were below them helped push them along. So it was a culmination of a lot of years going into obviously one pretty special year for our program, and it was something that I know those guys and will never forget, and I couldn't be more proud of those young men.
So high school kids that are out there and they're like, yeah, I like Towson. What are you looking for in a high school kid? What should they be doing, do you think, to catch a coach's eye? What do you think is important for a high school?
One of the major things for us is their work ethic and their compete level. You're going to be able to see the athleticism. You're going to be able to see the skill set. Everybody sees who scores the goal or who makes the save. But you're looking for the guys that don't take any plays off, the guys that hustle on and off the field, the guys during timeouts or halftime, who is leading the huddles, who is a voice in the huddles, who's a voice on the field and really helping the offense or the defense gel and work together, and who is playing relentlessly out there regardless of the conditions. They could be up 10 goals and they're still battling for everything. They could be down 10 goals and battling for everything. It could be 8 a.m., at the end of July, and it's 104 degrees on a turf somewhere. Who shows up at 8 a.m. in the morning and is ready to compete? Those are the type of guys that we look at. And then you kind of go down the checklist. Athletically, what are they like? Skill set, what are they like? And if they're close enough in those areas, but really have that work ethic and compete level, we feel like we can do a lot with that.
Multi-sport athletes, people say they like them, people say they don't. What's your feeling on someone who plays multi-sports?
I love them. Absolutely love them. You know, I think the ability to have different skill sets helps a lacrosse player if that's ultimately what they do at the end of the road. I think it helps any athlete at the end of the road, whatever they choose to concentrate on. So multi-sport athlete, I think, is when they come into Towson as a lacrosse student athlete, you know, gives us maybe some options in regards to versatility. You know, a kid that we've had a lot of guys that were quarterbacks of their football team, or, you know, point guards at basketball team, you know, and they're playing midfield for us. You know, a kid like Justin Mabus, who was, you know, with Yorktown football and a quarterback and a basketball guy. You know, he was one of our best assist guys ever as a midfielder because he had that vision. He had that ability to see the field better, and not just a downhill dodging, shooting midi, you know, and then same thing as a ex-attackman and a defensive player who maybe played, you know, stopper as a soccer player or middle linebacker, you know, and just has that a little bit of grit and nastiness, but also the footwork and things like that.
Got a couple more minutes. Shot clock. Like it? Don't like it? What do you think?
I like it in the fact that it cleans the game up, you know, and it takes the, you know, the discretion of the referees out, you know, and they got a hard job. You know, I'll be the first to admit I get on the refs for a lot of different things. And I'm sure a lot of coaches out there would agree, and it's not easy. I mean, during our practices, I ref our little scrimmages and things going on, and you miss a call, and you know, you don't get everything right. But you know, being able to take that piece away from the refs and just have it more consistent, I think, helps clean the game up. I don't know what the perfect number is, you know, if we were to establish a shot clock and how it's established. Obviously, that'll be a little trial and error. I think 60 seconds from the time of possession could be a little too short, but we'd all adjust. We'd figure it out.
This team, what do you like about your team this year? What do you think makes them special? What do you see?
We have a lot of new guys on the team this year. Graduated 11, brought in 13 freshman class, plus a few transfers. So a lot of new faces, more so on the offensive end. So we had a lot of question marks kind of coming in. Who was going to step up? Who was going to be the next guys to carry Towson lacrosse forward? Our first game against Hopkins, we were still asking that question a lot. We got beat up pretty good. But what I love is what I've seen out of our guys in regards to the resolve they have, the heart and the fight that they've shown. You know, we've played an extremely tough non-conference schedule so far, and we've been tested in many different ways. We've made a lot of mistakes, but we haven't wavered in our competitiveness and in our fight. You know, we've never given up out there on the field. And having some new guys into the program, you know, you feel like you know who they are and what they're about, and it's great to see that they've proven themselves that, you know, regardless of being, you know, down, we're never out of the fight. We're going to keep battling and make it a game, or if we're up, you know, trying to obviously seal the win off. And you know, we've had a couple overtime games. One went our way, one didn't. You know, that has shown some experience for us and helping our guys understand maybe just being a little bit cleaner, a little bit smarter to go along with our toughness and our fight can help us be on the positive end of that.
Last thing, what advice has a coach given you that you've gone like, yeah, I like that, and it stuck with you? And what advice would you give to another coach that's probably maybe listening to this? What could you tell them?
You know, we work with young men, or, you know, as we're recruiting, you know, recruiting high school kids and stuff. And I think one of the big things that's evolved in coaching, maybe since I've been a player to where I am now, is the mentality of the student athletes and what, you know, how you can motivate them in certain ways and how you need to motivate them and find out how each kid can be motivated, you know. And I think it goes to the fact that, you know, they don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know, that's something that I think has really resonated with me over the years. And, you know, I got a good taste of that a little bit in college, you know, with my coaches, but seeing Coach Tierney operate and Coach Seaman operate as head coaches before me, You know, it really opened my eyes to seeing a young man grow and develop through those experiences. You know, you could, you know, get on a kid in practice and then, you know, really harp on maybe their mistakes and then try to correct them and then do better. But then you have a, you know, a really strong conversation off the field in the office and let them know, obviously, how much you care about them and you're just trying to get the best out of them and make them realize what they're fully capable of. You know, I think they understand and they're willing to battle that much more for themselves and making themselves better and the team. So I think I'd like to pass that along.
Coach Nadelen, thanks for coming. In the crease.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.